Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round 3 of the RaceFace.Pro Clio Cup Championship. Right here at Silverstone, a short version of Silverstone, the national configuration, but does end up as a bit of fun. My name is Stephen Koenig, and joining me in the commentary box this evening, because I'm a little bit husky today, it's going to be Cameron Bastos. Cameron, welcome to the commentary box. Absolutely awesome to be here at Silverstone for round 3 of a 4-round championship. This is going to be a monumental effort for our drivers to see who can claw their way to victory. And with the championship being so close in not only our AM class, but in our Pro class as well, anything is on the cards. And considering these are the same drivers you've competed against in the F4s, you know exactly how this action is going to turn out.
Yes, no, absolutely, Stephen. It's an honor to be here tonight and to join you in the stream here. Yes, the Clio Cup, I haven't been following closely, so I had to do a quick search up on how the cars work and everything there. But the racing so far has been very, very close, which provides extreme entertainment for everybody who watches, which just makes it so much better.
Now, very, very close racing. But let's take a look at our championship before we move on. We do have qualifying that will be starting out. So taking a look at our points, starting off with our Pro-Am, as Tim's getting all that sorted out. Roland Ferreira out in the first place with 171 points. Lewis Nokia in second place. Philippe Pinot in third with 122 points. Fanny Gravenstein with 108. Then you got Arno Kraus on 199 points, Vessel from Arts on 89 points, Joe Pinder on 51, Valmus Blow in 8th with 40 points, and Andre Steenkamp with 38 points. Taking a look at our pros, this is where it gets a little bit closer. We've got Jan Ferry on 169 points, Werner Swartz on 126, tied with Luc Lucchesi on 126 points. Then you got Schick Hildenes on 122. Yuri Swartz sitting on a 106, followed by Willem Buerta on 88. Jeff Hancock's on 64. Then Herman Lazarus on 59. Also another tie-up in points. Julian Familiaris and Timothy Stanton, both on 57 points. Doug Herber on 43. Sean Webber in 12th position on 40 points. And Jan Grobler on 34 points. So that is telling of what the story is going to look like here at Silverstone. Lots on the line for the drivers, and for the first down qualifying, I think these drivers are going to look for pushing the boundaries of what they can do. This is Willem Buerta, who's currently making his way around the circuit. Then you got Robbie Teens along with Timothy Stanton in the M&M car. Roland Ferreira out on the circuit as well. Just weren't able to get an in-car cam for him this time around, but we're going to get an in-car for the next one. Then we've got Fanny Gravenstein, Johan Ferry, Doug Herber, Arno Kraus, Yuri Swart, Werner Swart. Then you've got Nico Killerman, Lewis Nokia, Herman Lazarus, and Luc Lucchesi in the Rusty's machine.
Yes, you can clearly see who grew up watching the car franchise movies there with the Rusty's machine running around the track there. But no, Stephen, just looking at the standings just puts a lot of things in perspective of how close this race is. Some might think, oh no, it's almost wrapped up, but not really. One mistake can cost someone the championship win here.
Now that's it, and with these front-wheel drive cars, it is all about momentum to get yourself to the top. Taking a look at the spectators though, Roy Oxabadger saying hello all as he gets a little bit of excitement in. And just a reminder to all our spectators, we do have a prize going on, sponsored by SA Lube. A very big thank you to them. So down in the description, there is a link that you can click on where we're giving away a weekly 300 Rand to the viewers that are watching. So go and make sure you click on that link, go into the prize as well. And at the end of the season, there is a 2,000 Rand prize pool as well that goes out to the spectators. We've managed to hand out last week and this week in terms of the 300 Rand, so big shout out to SA Lube there, with Melina Weber being the winner of the last one. So well, congratulations, Ms. Weber. But This is where it's going to get exciting. Our drivers still pushing as hard as they can. Jan Free out in first place. Then we got Yuri Swart in second place. Willem Buerta currently in third place. Werner Swart trying to chase him down is currently in fourth. And then first of our Pro-Ams is Roland Ferreira, who's lying in sixth place. But Lewis O'Keefe beating him out, goes into first of the Pro-Ams and is fifth overall. Robbie Teens currently trying to chase down behind a Pepsi and an M&M machine. That's not quite a combo that you want to mix around with. I mean, it's like having Coke and Mentos together. It just doesn't tend to be the best flavors.
Yes, no, not the best flavor, Stephen, but they can put on a spectacular show if you combine Coke and Mentos. Trust me, I played around with it a lot when I was younger and got into a lot of trouble with it. So it's definitely an explosive combo.
Well, you and I have had some experience around Silverstone. I can tell you from my side of things, this is a circuit that will make or break you. It's a lot of momentum. It's all about keeping your foot in it and try and keep going. In a short version, though, it does make things a little bit more exciting. You've raced on the long version numerous times in your racing career. What is the plan for these drivers to keep the tires up for 20 minutes of racing? Remember, we still got 2 heats, so we've got a heat 1 and a heat 2 that the drivers are going to have to show off what they can do.
Well, the best advice is keep it smooth on the throttle and also your steering inputs. You don't want to overwork those tires, as that will just kill them before even the end of the race. Yes, it's 20 minutes, but overworking the tires can cause significant damage. And then also, just watch the track limits. Silverstone is forgiving in some aspects, but go over it by a little bit and you will be penalized.
Now those X's come into play, and we do have a drive-through penalty for anyone that goes over the limits of incident points. We talk about the track limits, and contact gives you an X. You're allowed 20 of those to then, well, try and get you across the race. You're only allowed 20 X's before you get thrown in with a drive-through penalty. And well, with the contact such as banging doors with one another, it does give you a 4X. You can see how that starts to run away. A slide is 2, off track is 1, so that 20 starts going a bit smaller and smaller every step of the way. So the drivers are going to have to think what they can do here. Jan Free, though, out in first place with Yuri Swart in second. Luke Lucchesi up into third place. Now remember, Luke Lucchesi is a little bit down the order in the championship, trying to fight it out, looking to stand on top once again. Werner Swart lying in fourth place. First of our Pro-Ams, though, is Robbie Teens with Willem Buerta chasing him down. He's currently in sixth place, but you can see now giving a tow to Robbie Teens. So Robbie is just loving this. He's soaking it up. Gets a loud pass, and the Aztec Sim Sports Clio getting past the Pepsi machine. It's a bit of a negative combo on that one. The last thing I want to have is any soda near my very expensive sim racing gear. Lewis O'Keefe is chasing down, and he's in seventh place. Roland Ferreira, his teammate, lying in eighth position. Nico Killerman going and powering his way through. Timothy Stanton trying to get in a good run as well. So times are starting to fall. Best lap time of the race is a 105.2, well, of the qualifying is 105.20. These are fixed setup cars, but take a look. From first right down to seventh are all in the 105s. Right into the eighth place, actually. Ninth. That's just happened. Yes. Roland Ferreira getting that 105.79. But I mean, let's take a look. Jan Free, 105.20. Yuri Swart, 105.32. Then you've got Werner Swart, 105.4. Then Luke Lucchesi, 105.45. Robbie Teens, 105.57. Willem Buerta, 105.70. Lewis O'Keefe on a 105.74. Tying it up with the 105.74 for Nico Killerman. And then you've got Roland Ferreira with a 105.79. And then the rest of the field dropping into those 106s. But a very, very competitive field from both our Pro and our Pro-Am. And it really does show there is no give in the fight to the top. And the drivers are going to have to keep that in mind for the long race. Remember, they're qualifying on full fuel loads as it stands. There's no around this, they are on fixed setup, so the only thing you can do is adjust your brake bias. But in these cars, you can adjust your brake pressure, and that's about that, really. There isn't much you can do. It is a Clio, it is French, and it doesn't, you know, sometimes wants to explode. Not the new Clios, but the old ones I know used to detonate their gearboxes. So the way these drivers are going, they're really putting them through their paces.
Yes, no, Stephen, that's that's definitely true. It's amazing to see the drivers all the way up into ninth being so close to one another, and even Timothy Stanton just being a couple of tenths away from being in the 105s. But these fixed setups just show the skill level of these different drivers. You don't need to have a specialized setup to be quick, and these drivers prove it.
Well, I mean, you've had it with the F4s. You're also on a fixed setup race, and that is the sister category to the Clio Cup that is currently happening. So a bit of Formula and a bit of tin top racing. But the difference that comes into it, do you think that the fixed setup favors one over the other in terms of driving styles, or do you feel that it's kind of an all-rounder?
Well, from what I've experienced even through the Mazda MX-5s all the way to the F4s, is that they don't really favor any type of driving style, but you can adapt the setup more to your style. I like to slide the car around corners compared to people who just want to have it glued to the ground. So I don't really believe that it just favors one driving style. I believe it favors all.
So it does bring into play of what you can do. Jan Free is our defending champion from the TCR, so he was one of the major supporters to jump into the Clios, and seems to be enjoying it. Then you got Yuri Umpiswat, who actually raced this past weekend in the VW Polo Cup down at Killarney. Had a little bit of a rough time with that, so you can put it, where he landed up with, unfortunately, I think it was an 8th place due to mechanical problems, and then managed to get across the line. But fighting it out, when we actually had a chat to him, he said these cars do resemble that sort of driving style that's needed. You need to go and push the limits. You need to work out what your gearing's going to be, and most of all, you've got to be brave. You can't back out of it. So in terms of like my driving style for a good one, these cars are very, very difficult. They're very understeery if you're off the gas the whole time, because of the front wheel nature. You need to keep your foot in it to try and get the cars around the corners and ensure that you get a little bit more of a run.
Yes, no, Stephen. So with the front wheel drives, you can't expect the nose to turn in after braking. I would approach this with, I would try hit the brakes and then chuck the nose in and then immediately throttle. So just to get that drive and power out of the corners, to make sure that it just sticks and doesn't just say goodbye to you and we'll have a nice day.
I'll take a look at the times. Jan Free putting in a 105.04 as his quickest lap time. Yuri Umpiswat with a 105.18. So close to him. Luke Lucchesi jumping up the order though with a 105.369 ahead of Werner Swartz. 105.395 at the moment. Robbie Teens though, first of our Pro-Ams, hanging into the fight here, and is duking out with Willem Buerta in the Pepsi machine, so they're trying to improve. Nico Killerman getting better in his first sector, but a lot of the drivers, I think, have now started to find those track limits and can't push the cars anymore than what they're doing at the moment. So they're just trying to hope by keeping in the toe of one another, they'll make a difference.
It's great to see the Pro-Am driver fighting amongst the pros there, and yes, actually so Stephen, the track limit seems to be catching up to these guys as they're all trying to extract as much time possible from the track, and it's going to lead to some invalidated lap times.
Well, Sean Weber at the moment, he's making his way through and trying to improve through the race a little bit, running out wide. And this will be his first lap. Timothy Stanton putting in a quick last sector to try and move him up through the order. So Weber trying to get that little bit more pace, put a time on the board at this point, because he is down the order in 15th position And with 0 time on the board, time running out of the race, the last thing you want to do is get caught out on that. But we cannot forget, you and I love to have some GT3 racing. I mean, we've seen it. We've been part of it. But what we can say is a standing start does separate the brave from the bold in the fight, because these cars are going to have to go from a standing start into gear and get racing. Now, you do know how chaotic that can be, especially on the start, because all it takes is one person not to get the best run off a line or get caught sleeping when the lights go off.
Yes, it provides an entertaining but also very dangerous situation. For example, you can just get your start perfect, but the guy in front of you forgets to put it in first gear. I've done it multiple times in some of my races, and I just get taken out on the first lap, not even before I even start. So it's definitely adds a bit to the excitement, I can say.
Another thing is you just got to be so careful not to get off of the clutch a little bit too early and then get that jump start as well. I mean, it provides its own bit of challenge, and that's what I like about these cars, especially with the front wheel drives. You've got a lot of drive off the line, but you just have to get those revs right. If you rev it too high, you're just going to do a burnout and get nowhere. Otherwise, you're going to push a little bit too hard, land up with a world of hurt as well. That brings our qualifying to an end, though, and all drivers were able to get a time on the board. So let's actually take a look at the grid for tonight, as we've got Jan Ferrari out in first place, Jurien Pissoir in second place, Luc Leclerc in third place, Werner Swart in fourth, Robbie Teens in fifth, Willem Buerta in sixth, Lewis O'Keefe in seventh, eighth is Nico Killerman, Roland Ferreira, Timothy Stanton, Doug Herbert, Herman Lazarus, and moving further down the order, we have got Fonnie Gravenstein, Arno Kraus, and Sean Webber rounding out our field. Small grid today, but that is due to what we have here in South Africa, load shedding coming into play. That does change up the ball game, but all eyes will be set on the top runners for the race, because it's all about them getting the best of starts to try and pull away from the rest of the field. And it does look like the sun is directly smack bang in the eyes of our drivers.
It must be right above them, Stephen, looking at the shadows there, but yes, the eyes are going to be at the front of this pro grid here. It's a tight battle there, and also the Pro-Am. One mistake, it's not all said and done. It's definitely going to be a fight until the end through both these races.
15 laps around Silverstone. Jan Ferrari in first place, Jurien Pissoir and Luc Leclerc still needing to take to the circuit. Nico Kellerman looking to take to the circuit. Werner Swart lined up in fourth place, is looking to try and get the jump on it. But we're going to green. Lights on. Lights off, and away we go. Off to a very, very slow start for some of them, but Jan Ferrari going on the defensive. Jurien Pissoir immediately into the toe. Luc Leclerc trying to go up on the inside, cutting off Werner Swart to ensure that he can hold him back. But it does look like Robbie Teens also on the charge, trying to make his way up through the order. So Robbie Teens now needs to try and go a little bit later on the break. He's got Willem Buerta around him as well. So all our drivers keeping it clean for the first run, but the tires will be absolutely frigid at this point for all the cars. Willem Buerta managing to get the drive. Now the RDSA driver needs to catch up to the likes of Werner Swart ahead of him, who's keeping the pressure on Luc Leclerc. Jurien Pissoir has lost track of Ferrari as they carve their way through. So now it's going to be an outright charge, but Robbie Teens leading out first of our Pro-Am division, now in the fight for the top 5 and getting very, very close. Roland Ferreira and Lewis O'Keefe coming to blows with one another, side by side with Nico Killerman in that number 76 GoPro Renault Clio, and it does look like Lewis O'Keefe dropping down. Doug Herbert trying to make his way up the order. He's got Timothy Stanton going and closing out behind him. The two rivals rejoining on circuit and running out wide through turn 1. Very, very tricky to get the pace down. And it looks like all the drivers still jockeying for position, left, right, and center. Ferrari Now a little bit slower through turn 2, has got Yuri Swart immediately onto the back of him, pushing as hard as he can to make some moves up through the order. One person that has gone through the order is Sean Webber. Remember, he started in 15th position and now is chasing down 11th just ahead of him. So he's trying to go on the inside of the cheapercars.co.za. Looks up on the inside, beautiful pass, but now Farney Gravenstein also capitalizing on the pass, trying to make his way around. Herman Lazarus is not going to be taking that. It's going to go side by side with him, and it doesn't look like Herman Lazarus is going to back down from the fight. Absolutely incredible stuff. Even at the back end of the field, our drivers are pushing as hard as they can.
Yes, Sean Webber had a brilliant launch from 15th.
I just saw that is contact.
Sideways. Oh, that was close. Almost took out Webber there. That was some very, very close racing there.
Webber had a bit of an off track with Herman Lazarus, but let's see if we can go back quickly and see what happened there. Looks like the two of them may have come to blows. Yeah, they did. A little bit of a shove along with both of them, and both just managing to save it last minute. But sure, those tyres are a bit worn out, and definitely the tyres are looking a bit second-hand.
I believe so, Stephen. Lazarus just cut across Webber's nose there as he rejoins, which could have gone very, very badly and taken out more of the people behind there. But luckily, just missed it there. But I think they exchanged more than just paint during that little exchange there, Stephen. As we see the drivers cross the line for their 4th lap now, with the previous lap where Yuri Swart set the fastest lap for 1 minute 5.1.
Trying to improve every single time. You can see track limits being used a bit, but Yuri putting the pressure on Fari, that monster machine, trying to deal with the likes of Yuri Swart from Durant Motorsport. Going around the outside, these two did come to blows down in Cape Town this past weekend, and now it seems like they've carried it all the way to Silverstone, side by side into the braking marker, and hard on the brakes. Who's going to be able to just get it through? A little bit of a lockup from the likes of Fari. That is going to kill off his drive, allow Yuri Swart to try and come back at him. Couldn't get it all sorted out. Looks for the inside line, but just not able to get the drive underneath him as they close up distance. But that has allowed Luke Lucchese in 3rd place to close up on the trio, to turn it into a trio battle. Werner Swart is also making a bit of headroom as well. So Yuri Swart trying to show his nose a little bit, try and bait Jan Fari into a mistake, leaning into those review mirrors and force him to look around as they move left and right across the circuit, trying everything they can to hold each other at bay. But Luke Lucchese's now come into the fray of this. This is going to change the whole dynamic of 1st, 2nd battle, because now you're including 3rd and 4th as they get into this fight.
Yes, no, absolutely, Stephen. It's tight racing out there, but the two front runners need to be smart. As we see another lockup there from Furi, really struggling to get the car slowed down there enough, but just needs to be careful of his tires, as the 3rd and 4th place drivers are closing at a rapid speed, but Swart also closing up there a lot more due to Furi locking up his brakes.
That's it, and this is a battle for our pros at the moment, and one of our closest on circuit. Second to that is actually Roland Ferrer and Robbie Teens that are going hammer and tongs at one another. Oh, there's contact! And that is our two front runners getting all out of shape. Yuri Swart missing his nose, and now you got Fari, who will be sustaining a little bit of damage on his car, but Luke Lucchese saying thank you very much. Werner Swart saying I'm happy with that. Yuri trying to keep the drive up. Willem Buerta will have straight line speed over the likes of Yuri Swart, and that is towing along Fari. So now Yuri Swart will need to get some repair work done on that car, as the nose has completely popped off the Clio, and you can see he's just backing out from the fight, allowing the guys to go. But that has promoted our drivers. Another little battle going on for a fight for the podium is Roland Ferreira, who is duking it out with Robbie Teens, and then Doe Gerber immediately onto the back of him, pushing as hard as he can in that Castrol machine, trying to look on the inside of the Aztec Sports car of Robbie Teens. And we hear that pit of Yuri Umpi-Swart, so he's going to fall down the order, but our Pro-Ams is still in a monstrous fight. But Doe Gerber is actually in Pro. He's 5th in Pro, and now duking it out with our Pro-Ams, and that has allowed Nico Killerman, who's running 3rd in the Pro-Ams, to close up the distance as well. But Sean Webber in the GoPro machine trying to... sorry, that's not Sean Webber. Sean Webber is in the South African colours, has closed up. He's going off to Doe Gerber. So all the drivers starting to mix and match at this point of what they're going to do, how they're going to battle each other out, and who's going to be able to fight their way up through the order. We've got to remember one thing that's going to come from this is our top 5 overall will be reversed come Heat 2. We're on lap 7 out of 15. So far, we've seen the battle get a little bit heated for the front runners. But at this point, for our Pro-Ams, it's still all on the cards. And for our Pros, we are getting just as much of a fight, because now you've got Free, who's trying to get past Willem Buerta at this point. And Willem Buerta did start off a little bit behind, but he's got his elbows out to get into this fight to ensure that it isn't going to be an easy pass for Free.
Yes, no, Stephen, absolutely. As we also see that Luke Lucchese and Werner Schwartz also getting close there, and Werner Schwartz almost making a move there in the first corner, but it seems like he's setting up a move here, sticking right close to the bumper of Lucchese there. But Lucchese covering that inside line beautifully, making sure not to lock up the tires. But if Werner Schwartz can, but unfortunately not close enough, can stick up the inside, as Lucchese has the better line through that corner there. The action on the circuit is just everywhere today, Stephen.
This is what we love to see, is the guys really going and giving it their absolute all at this point, and taking a look over to the crowd as well. They're going a bit nuts out there. We've got Natasha Lovelock, Leanne Strachan, along with Safari Nation Racing going and saying how's it they supporting Mr. Webber. Side by side they go, Willem Buerta and Fourie through turn 1. Not easy to do, as generally this is where you go off towards Maggots and Beckett's. So the guys are going to be veering around. They're going to follow through Maggots, Beckett's, keeping it all in order, but you, instead of carrying on, you turn a long right-hander, taking the very short circuit. And I know for anyone that's so used to the normal layout, you land up going straight, you're out braking yourself, so the drivers are having to put behind what they know. Contact. Free and Buerta just giving a little bit of a nudge between one another. A bit of rivalry between Pepsi and Monster. Oh boy, which would you go for, Pepsi or Monster? I'm going to go for an Energade.
Well, Stephen, I don't know why would they be competing for the same market. Monster's an energy, Pepsi is just a carbonated drink, but I guess it falls under the drinks industry. I like both. Unfortunately, I like all drinks except Red Bull, but I do love the motorsport team.
There was actually a bit of history that was made this past weekend with the Red Bull. They actually built the world's fastest video camera drone that kept up with the RB20 that went around Silverstone. It was going at 320 kilometers an hour, and it's the first 4K camera drone that can do 320 k's an hour and keep up with the Red Bull car. Kept up with Max Verstappen in the wheat. Side by side though goes to Werner Schwartz and Luke Lucchese. Luke once again holding that inside line, not backing out of the fight, going and actually leaning on Werner Schwartz to try and throw him into the dirtiest part of the circuit as they claw their way through. A change up for position though is Robbie Teens. He's now trying to battle it out. He's going side by side with Nico Killerman, and the two of them are fighting out for second and third in class. Right behind them, Sean Webber, who is keeping a close eye on this. He's trying to figure out where can he get by. Doe Gerber is trying to go after the leader of our Pro-Ams at this point, saying, look, I need to get around you, buddy. But your second and third place are in a fight with one another. So maybe the long-term strategy will be to try and see if we can work together. But Webber immediately onto the back of Nico Killerman, which is not what Nico wanted as he lost the drive. to Robbie Teets.
Yes, no, absolutely, Stephen. And just looking at my screen here quickly, Yuri Ampiswat was dead last after his accident, and he clawed back 2 positions already. He is not taking prisoners, trying to get as much points out of this race as he possibly can, and bring the fight still to Johan Fury there in the point standings.
Well, he has to try and make up some time. If you think about it, there isn't a lot of points to play with, and considering this is the second last round of the race, the last thing you want to lose out is valuable points for the Clio Cup, especially for the debut season of the Clio Cup right here at RaceFace.Pro. And for all the ladies and gentlemen out there, thank you very much for joining us in the crowd. Glad to have you guys here as we head on to lap 12 out of 15 for our Heat 1 of our RaceFace.Pro Clio Cup as they duke it out. And take a look in the description. There is a link with the SA Lube to go and win 300 Rand a week. So it's definitely one you need to enter, get part of it, and really carve your way through into victory. And that can be entered throughout the whole week. Also, you don't have to do it live. You can be watching this in the future. Click on that link as well, long as it's within the same week as this broadcast. And you do get a instant entry into the grand prize pool of 2,000 Rand. Now, I'm going to throw in a little bit of a curveball for you, Cameron, because Luke Lucchesi, out in first place, is lying third in the championship on 126 points. Werner Swart is second in the championship on 126 points. So these two are tied for points, and this is make or break for them. Jan Ferree, who's in third, is leading the championship, but is watching it slowly fleet away, because at the top of the running, you have to get ahead of these two that are now fighting it all out on the line, side by side. And if that doesn't go and escalate things a little bit further, you have to go and claw your way up to victory. The winner of this heat gives themselves a major boost in the championship. 45 points on the line for coming in first place. Second place is 39 points. So when you're running second in the championship with this as your second last race, that tells a story for both drivers.
Yes, Stephen, this is not just a second championship fighting with someone's example, 15th championship. This is for the title. They're trying to capitalize on Fury making the mistake there, and they are absolutely going tooth and nail out on the circuit, which is unbelievable to see, keeping it clean racing and just going it at it all.
Werner Swart still trying to close down the difference and doing everything he can, getting into a tow. This is in the cockpit of the car, and let's actually jump on from the roll bar for Mr. Swart, getting it down the gears, feathering the throttle, and just trying to look for that inside line, but really going and fighting it tooth and nail, doing everything he can to move up through the order. And then just ahead of him, Luke Lucchesi, as you can see, keeping his foot firmly on the power, does not want to lose out any bit of drive. If we go off the gearbox, there isn't much difference heading into the braking zone. You can see utilizing all the curb, and this is the last lap for our drivers. So it is a run to the line, and we cannot forget that Nico Killerman is also on the charge for a second place in his class. So he is really trying to dig deep to Robbie Teens at the moment.
Yes, no, Stephen, this fighting all over the circuit. It's not done just yet, and we still have a second race to go after this. It is going to be extremely tight here. My heart's already in my throat just from this. I'm stressing for these drivers.
It's going to be a late dive for Werner Swart. Couldn't get it all booked in just right. Luke Lucchesi, though, trying to carry the drive. Final corner to get on the throttle. Who's it going to be to get the exit? Werner Swart early on the throttle, but just couldn't get the drive. And it does look like Luke Lucchesi is going to try and carry it to the line, locking on that inside line. and comes across, taking the checkered flag for the pros. Second place goes to Werner Swart. Jan Free walking away with third place. Willem Buerta going and finishing up in fourth place. Great run on him. Roland Ferreira taking the win for our Pro-Ams. Sean Webber in fifth of the pros. Robbie Teens just getting ahead of Nico Killerman for second and third of our Pro-Ams. Doug Herber in our pros having a great race. He finished in ninth place. Versakia in fourth. And of our Pro-Ams, Timothy Stanton is in seventh of our pros. Yuri Umpi Swart blowing the engine right at the wire. Herman Lazarus followed by Farney Gravesine and Arno Kraus as they come across the line. That was a proper run, but Sean Webber, one to keep an eye out for, got himself into the top five, got himself into sixth, and looked to try and move his way forward. Next up, though, we're moving into our Heat 2, and this is where it's going to get a bit interesting, as we've got Roland Ferreira out in first place. Second will be Willem Buerta, Jan Ferrie, Werner Swart, Luc Lucchesi, Sean Webber, Robbie Teens, Nico Killerman, Doug Herbert, Lewis Akir, Timothy Stanton, Yuri Swart, moving his way up through the order. We'll need to try and figure out what needs to be done. Herman Lazarus and Foddy Gravesine with Honor Cross rounding out our field. We're going to grid, though, and looking forward to all the action for this race. A big shout out, though, we do have to say a big shout out to a person that's just come all the way from Cape Town to see all the sim races to SES Days, the major coming up to Johannesburg. So how's it, Essie? Hope you enjoying Joburg. It's nice and warm, and just like the action out here for the RaceFace.Pro Clio Cup, we're going to be racing. So lights on. Oh no, jump start for Willem Buerta.
Penalty.
And that is going to change it all as it starts out. Roland Ferreira will be getting across. Then Willem Buerta will be suffering with a jump start. Then we have got Werner Swart trying to close down the difference. Luc Lucchesi, Sean Webber up through the order. Then Robbie Teens trying to dive up on the inside of him. Nico Killerman getting a good drive. Verso Kier going side by side with Yuri Umpi Swart, who's trying to fight his way from the back. And this is not going to be an easy run for him, because now he has to try and carve through an ongoing battle for fourth place and third place of the Pro-Ams. They are nose to tail with one another. Back out to the front of the order, Roland Ferreira taking the charge. He's in first place. Ferreira got first. And now Willem Buerta trying to look up on the inside, figuring how can he get by. That's going to allow Werner Swart into the mix. Luc Lucchesi and Sean Webber on the back of him. So this is going to be a run through the order. Buerta coming into the pits to serve that drive-through penalty. The two teammates now going side by side. Roland Ferreira will either go on the defense and protect his position, or Werner Swart, who is, oh, never mind, he's going to just go visiting off. I think he's trying to visit Scotland there. So Werner Swart and Luc Lucchesi will take second place. Roland Ferreira, who visited Scotland, has now dropped down into fourth place, as Webber, through the order, got one lap into qualifying, and now is for Heat 2 within the top three. But take a look at Yuri Umpi Swart going after Robbie Teens, who is right there into the fight. Roland Ferreira has to try and keep ahead of Robbie Teens, that's closing up behind him. So the fight right through the front is turning into a monstrous battle. Our pros, like Luc Lucchesi and Werner Swart, looking to relive the battle they just had in Heat 2. And much like we've got everyone in the grandstand standing on their feet, going and looking at the jump start that happened from Buerta, going and saying, oh my heavens, what? How could this be? Everyone going and shouting out. Etienne Z going and saying, well done all for Heat 1, but he's looking forward to Heat 2. And Madman Gaming also saying thank you, Lube SA from Lena Weber, going and saying, how's it? She was our winner for our SA Lube viewers competition, which is down in the description, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, contact between Werner Swart and Luc Lucchesi. That's killed the drive on both of them. And Weber looking to try and capitalize, puts himself into second place, but will he have the drive to outpace himself? But that is also allowed the likes of Roland Ferreira and Robbie Teens to get into the fray of things. So Luke Lucchesi now trying to go door to door with Webber. Will have to try and figure out how to get past Webber, holding that inside line. Luke Lucchesi getting forced out a little bit wide. That's going to open the gap to Werner Swart ever so slightly. But this is turning into a monumental battle, and Yuri Umpi-Swart getting pincered between all the drivers, figuring out where can he go. Does he send it up the middle? Does he go up on the inside? He's got a dice ahead of him. And how is he going to play this game as they go side by side? So first and second of our Pro-Ams are fighting out. First and second and third of our pros are all close together. And we'll see that Doak Herber's had contact. Doak Herber has involved in a crash. Let's jump quickly back to see what happened. Doak Herber lining himself up next to Herman Lazarus on the cheapercars.co.za. The team trying way too hard there, and collateral damage coming in for the Golf Racing Machine. So a little bit of side-on contact there.
But just as we got away there, I could see quickly there that Yuri Swart has made a move there and will slot himself back into fourth for the pro class. So he's not done. He's fighting back hard. But it's just about patience now. The guys up front might make a mistake. Choose your moment wisely, as the top three guys are going to be fighting very, very hard with Sean Webber not giving up yet, sticking close by in case Luke Lucchesi and Werner Swart make a small mistake.
Well, I mean, Webber's lying 12th in the championship, so any points is valuable for him to move up through the order, and to be within the top three at this fight is definitely what he wants to be. Yuri Umpi-Swart, though, who is trying to gain a bit of drive, he's 5th in the championship, so anything works for him. Roland Ferreira, though, outbreaks himself. That is our Pro-Am leader losing out possessions and is down the order, so unfortunately getting sucked into the battle. Got a little bit too confident and thought the brakes were a lot bigger than they were, and unfortunately little Clio is saying, listen, I don't have big carbon fiber brakes, I don't have brakes that can stop at 300 k's an hour. I've got my little brakes that are discs and some cheap brake pads that you can buy at your local automotive mart, and that's all I got, buddy. He ain't going to be stopping me dead at 130 kilometers an hour and in the space of 5 meters.
Yes, I wonder if he saw the Rusty's livery there and thought he can do a Lightning McQueen there, turn right to go left, but unfortunately did not work out as he wanted to, and just locking up the brakes and continuing straight there. But as we see, Yuri Umpi-Swart very close there to Sean. He's bringing himself back from a very bad accident which ruined his race, the first race, and not giving up just yet.
Well, he went after the likes of Luke Lucchesi's Kachow, but got kajiggered on the way through. For any of the references there. Man, I feel old. If you think about it, that movie came out in the early 2000s. You and I are ancient, my friend. We belong in a retirement home while we're watching this amazing side-by-side racing. Yuri Umpi-Swart up on the inside of Webber. Now onto the back of Werner Swart. Luke Lucchesi has opened up the distance, but a little bit of hard braking coming into play for the likes of Yuri Umpi-Swart. But Robbie Teens, who's a little bit further back in 5th place, leading out our Pro-Ams. Second of our Pro-Ams is Roland Ferreira, who's 2 positions down and is in a fight with Nico Killerman. So I don't think Robbie Teens is going to be worrying about the issue at hand. But Roland Ferreira, who was leading the Pro-Ams, now dealing with Nico Killerman, going and showing what he can do. Monumental fighting all the way through. Luke Lucchesi pulling away. Yuri Umpi-Swart's going to try and go around the outside of Werner Swart. Werner going to be holding his line. Very, very defensive. Does run him out a little bit wide. Yuri Umpi-Swart does lose a little bit of drive. That is going to allow the likes of Sean Webber to get right underneath him. Start trying to figure out how he can get the drive. Looks up on the inside and just couldn't get it locked up into the brakes. Yuri Umpi-Swart does lock up behind Werner Swart and Luke Lucchesi as well. So the drivers are really leaning into the corners and having to brake that little bit harder. The car's just not so happy in this fight. Taking a look though, Safari Nation Racing, that's actually Hilton Nixon that's saying he needs to rejoin into the racing. And I perfectly agree, because this is a monumental fight. And I've got to say, for the RaceFace Clio Cup, if I was SA Lube, I definitely would be keeping a very close eye on these cars. They're supporting the F4s. Good to have you guys here. But maybe for any people that would like to sponsor our RaceFace Clio Cup, the door's always open. Get in touch with RaceFace.Pro. But with this being said, excitement comes in because first, second, and third in the championship are within 0.2 of a second of well, first and second are within 0.2 of a second, but I don't see the likes of Ferrari. I do actually. He's down in 7th. There's our championship leader. So this is going to compromise his points by the end of the championship, and with only one round to go after this, it's now or never.
Yes, it seems like Ferrari had a bit of a bad start there, but halfway through the race, he still has a second half. He can make up there a lot better. As you see, Ampi Swart going right next to Werner Swart there. Two different Swarts, but different spelling, and not giving each other any breathing space. But the fight's not over. They can still take it. It's just very hard racing, as I see there in the stands there. I'm scared of mispronouncing that name. Just saying that this is some hard racing, and that is why we have these people on track, these drivers. They give it their all. And also say hi there to Bago in the stands. Welcome in.
Yeah, that's Jan Krobler, who's actually also was fighting in the championship order, who is missing out on tonight's festivities, and keep an eye out on the competition. But these are drivers that you've gone door to door with. You've versed them out on the circuit. But what do you think for the competition, as they're not holding back at this point? Even Timothy Stanton holding back the likes of Ferrari. They're fighting for 5th and 6th in class, and Ferrari looking up on the inside, trying to get that little bit more drive. But these drivers are the same ones you go door to door with. You go and fight it out. Taking a look at what they could do in a tin top, I'm sure you're going and thinking, what's the next strategy come the F4s? Because, well, you don't have wheel arches covering you in that fight.
Yes, and with the F4s it's a different story. Here you can go proper side by side and bang your doors, but in the F4s it's not the same story there. One little touch on a wheel and you can go flipping upside down. It's a whole different story, but it does provide some close action racing, but it's not the same as the Clios.
Maybe we needed a Clio for the Bathurst.
Oh, that will be definitely entertaining, seeing these cars going around the mountain.
12 hours in a Clio shouldn't be too bad. A lot of these drivers coming off the Bathurst 12 hour that was just happening this past weekend. You even participated in that Bathurst 12 hour, so you know the mental strain that it takes into play. But I think in a 15 lap race, 2 heats, these drivers are going through all 12 hours of the race, the highs, the lows, the excitement, and also getting just as worn out.
Yes, the Bathurst 12 hours can take a lot out of you, but I think with these cars are something different, not as much downfalls, not as quick to turn, so it's definitely going to be a different story, and we're going to see a bunch of drivers with a lot more grey hair than when they entered into the car, I believe.
It's a good thing I've had a haircut to go and cut all of it off. But I see that spectators saying these cars don't like corners. Well, that's what makes them more interesting. They actually lift up the inside rear wheel to try and get a little bit more drive out of them. And I do recommend for anyone that wants to try out, if you're used to GT3 racing and you're looking at trying to change it out on the iRacing service, racing the MX-5s, racing the Clios. They're a lot of fun. They're challenging. They're just momentum vehicles, and yes, they don't like corners because they just kind of lean over and want to go to sleep. But the drivers are really showing off what they can do out on the circuit, which is phenomenal stuff. But then you've got most of the drivers in this grid were racing at Killarney this past weekend as well. And the sim racers going from Bathurst to racing at Killarney to racing tonight is just a monumental feat for just the expectation of the grids. And this is what we're starting to see. Championship coming into a closing standpoint. If Werner Swart is able to finish ahead of Luke Lucchesi once again, he's going to walk away with some valuable points. But it looks like unless something changes between Luc Leclerc and Werner Swart in the next 3 laps, they will tie each other again, and it will take the championship down to the final round of the championship for the Clios in 2 weeks' time. So not next week, the week after, we'll see the guys go and battle out for the championship. Yuri Swart, though, who's lying 5th in the championship for our pros, is on a charge to get ahead of Chick Hildenace, who's not racing this evening, and will be making up some valuable time. It does look like Sean Webber, though, disappearing. He's going and pulling a David Copperfield on us there. But I want to give you this little thought here, Cameron, because you've been in this situation before. Yuri Swart is 5th in the championship. If he gets between Werner Swart and Luc Leclerc, he can influence the championship heading into the final race of the season. So for Werner Swart and Luc Leclerc, they need to keep the door shut on Yuri Swart as much as possible and keep to one another. But Yuri's going to just put himself squarely in the middle of Werner Swart, and this does open up the championship between it. So the only thing that can happen, there's 2 things that can happen. Either Yuri needs to get ahead of Luc Leclerc for Werner to have a chance to take it into the final round, or if he doesn't, it may be too little too late.
I don't know, it's even too much math. All I know is this is some very, very close racing as we see Werner Swart there, Sean Webber disappearing there, running into some technical issues or malfunction there.
He's down.
Being shown.
He's gone.
He's gone. That seems to be like a malfunction in the internet something.
He's disconnected. That takes him out of the race. Oh my heavens, that changed up his game and was doing so well fighting it out with the top. But we're still seeing the side-by-side action between Yuri Swart and Werner Swart. But, oh man, my heart goes out to the guy. With 2 laps to go after everything you've been through, it's just an outright charge. But Werner Swart is watching the championship slip right now, and so is Johan Fourie, who's lying in 4th place on the last lap of the race. This is just a run down to the line for everyone. I mean, you've got your race next week, which is your I think it would be your last race next week. No, it would be your 3rd.
No, third. Second to last race.
Yeah, second to last race. Your championship is also keeping like this, where we're seeing the pros and pro-ams. I mean, if this is what we're seeing in the Clios, I can't wait to see what happens in the F4s as we take on Bathurst. Yes, we're at Bathurst with the F4s, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really looking forward to that. Unfortunate for those that, like Bago, that did 137 laps on it. You did it in the wrong car. But Luc Leclerc leading out the charge around the final corner. Yuri Swart has tried his best to claw his way back from the back of the field and put himself into 2nd place. Will be scoring the some championship points, but that is going to break up the tie between Werner Swart and Luc Leclerc as Werner finishes up in 3rd place. Johan Fourie finishing up in 4th, so we're going to have to keep an eye on what his championship standings go to. Robbie Teens taking the top of the charts for our Pro-Am. Timothy Stanton going and coming across the line. He's in 6th. Roland Ferreira in 7th. Nico Kilman in 8th. Willem Buerta in 9th. 10th. Herman Lazarus. Arno Kraus. Doug Herber comes across the line. Fonny Gravenstein. Lewis Okia. And unfortunately, Sean Webber with that disconnect. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. What a monumental race. And wow, if that doesn't get you a bit excited of what the results are going to be, it's just monumental.
It's action packed. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me just so entertained with the racing that happened tonight here. It's been close. Heartbreaking for Sean, they're having that disconnect there at the end, but it's provided a lot of entertainment seeing how he starts all the way from the back and just had a great drive there right until the end. As we see Safari Nation Racing saying that load shedding unfortunately struck. That's very, very bad and unfortunate luck there for him. But yes, next week with the F4s around Bathurst, that's gonna be fun. I know how Baggo feels around Bathurst, but it's gonna be fun. But on tonight, it's just provided some great racing between these drivers.
Well, let's take a look here. Luke Lucchesi finishing out in our feature race in first place, Yuri Swart in second place, Werner Swart in third, Jan Ferree, Timothy Sansa in fifth, along with Willem Buerta, Herman Lazarus, Dirk Herber, and Sean Webber in ninth place of our pros for our feature race, which is our Heat 2. And moving on to our Pro-Am, we will take a look at Robbie Teens taking the top of the charts there, Roland Ferreira, Nico Killerman, Arno Kraus, Fanny Gravestein, and Lewis de Keer coming across the line. We're going to look to try and get a couple of drivers to come and interview us. Interview them because, well, I mean, this is just monumental. The racing was just absolutely insane out there. But Cameron, take us through the thoughts on that. The Clio's really putting on a great show for a three-cylinder. Well, I think they've done a fantastic job.
Yes, no, Stephen, it was absolutely brilliant racing. Close, tight racing, door rubbing racing, and it provided great entertainment for the night. Just shows you that going into the final round, it's not over. The championship is still going on. It's going to be right onto the line on who has the better pace, who has the luck, and who can just keep their competitors behind them long enough to secure that championship.
It's going to be a great one, and some beautiful shots from Tim the cameraman, giving us some amazing shots of the race. I've got to say, really loved everyone going and fighting it out. Very close door-to-door racing with one another. But it does add a bit of change to the championship between the likes of Luke Lucchesi and Werner Swart, who came in tied for the second place spot. But we also got to talk about in our Pro-Ams, because we cannot discount it, Roland Ferreira going and scoring some valuable points as well, Lewis Okira as well, and Willem Pinaar as he moves his way through the order, sitting close in the points. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they are going to maneuver their way around, who will be able to claw their way to the victory. Only time will tell. And unfortunately, with Sean Webber going and being out of the running with that disconnect, it was our only car not to finish in this race. A couple of power failures did take some of our drivers out of the race beforehand, but ultimately amazing stuff. Just taking a look though, not anyone in the interview room as yet, so quick one to all our spectators. We still have the competition running, so for this week SA Lube has got an amazing prize just for you, the spectators, to go and have a bit of fun. During the course of this week, click on the link in the description on a Tuesday and a Thursday to go and enter for a 300 Rand voucher that will be sent to you. You can win $300 right to your doorstep, and that is our random draw for the spectators. Every time you enter, it's an entry into the grand prize. By the end of the season, we will be handing out 2,000 Rand to a lucky viewer. Cameron, you and I have both entered. You and I both didn't win. Our last winner was actually Melina Webber going and saying, Melanie Webber, to apologize, saying well done, and a big thank you to SA Lube for the prize as well. She was our winner for last week. Good to see it, and the sponsors taking something a little bit different to the world of sim racing, putting some prizes on the line for you guys at home.
Yes, unfortunately didn't win, but not going to discourage me being a weekly competition and continue entering. Who knows, maybe you might be the next one. Maybe one of our spectacular viewers might also be one of them will definitely be the next one, but keep on entering.
Oh, no, absolutely. So with that being said, it does look like our interview room, all the drivers are a bit too worn out to come and have a chat to us. So, to ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, make sure that you hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification icon and leave a like as well on the video. Also, drop us a comment. What was your favorite parts of the heat in Heat 1 and Heat 2? Who the drivers you're supporting and who do you think should get the debut run, the championship win for season 1 of our RaceFace.Pro Clio Cup right here at RaceFace. A big thank you to Cameron DeBastos for coming and joining in with the commentary box. It's always an honor to have you and lovely to have you part of the show. Cameron DeBastos, for everyone that doesn't know, there he is, one of our sim racers that also participates in the SA Lube F4 and will be out next week, Tuesday. So don't miss out on that race. You don't want to miss any part of it. It's our second last race of the SA Lube F4 Season 3. But, Cameron, anything in closing that you would like to say to our spectacular viewers, teams, drivers, and everyone out there that's watching now and in the future?
Well, nothing comes to mind except for good luck to the guys going into the final round. They keep on practicing, and see you all on Tuesday next week on track. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Really enjoyed it, and thanks Stephen for having me.
Well, next up we're going to be heading to Alton Park, and this is going to be interesting because Alton Park will be having its final run, because come the next season we're going to have some rain on Alton Park. Maybe some fun with rain. We'll find out. But ladies and gentlemen,
not again.
It will happen. It will happen. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us right here at RaceFace.Pro. And we'll see you next time. Same place. And we'll see you on Thursday for our RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship. Make sure you go and hit that link in the description. Get the prizes. And let's see who wins this week's SA Lube Viewers Competition. Thank you very much. And enjoy your evening. Like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.